Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on the Flash movie. And, well, we are closing in on the Flash movie, finally hitting theaters in under 2 weeks from now. Actually, it's closer to a week and a half from now. Though there have been a bunch of early, fan screenings, mainly in the United States, though we know certain spoilers were left out of that version of the film that was shown until the official one releases in about a week and a half from now. But with only that short amount of time left until the release of the full proper film, the star of the film, that being Ezra Miller, has yet to be included in any of the interview or press events that have taken place so far around the world, whether it's in the United States, Canada, some places in South America, and things like that. Which is obviously extremely uncommon for a film's main star, especially a film at the size of The Flash, with Variety reporting that Ezra Miller will make a low-profile appearance at the Los Angeles premiere on June 12th, only posing for photos rather than doing interviews. The film's director, Andy Muschietti, and cast members Ben Affleck, Sasha Calle, and Michael Shannon will also hit the red carpet that will be missing the standard press gauntlet. The film's Michael Keaton and fellow DC Universe superhero Jason Momoa will miss the premiere as they are filming movies in London and New Zealand as well. With the source close to Ezra Miller maybe being Ezra's PR person or something like that, I'd assume so, but anyway, it wasn't specified, but they said this. Ezra wants the movie to open and the conversation to be about the movie and not about Ezra. They are focused on their mental health and don't want to be transactional. And, I think no one is really surprised by this, that Ezra won't be doing any interviews, because though some of the bigger outlets like a Variety or Hollywood Reporter, for example, would play by the decency rules, if you want to call it, and, not push in like any questioning towards Ezra, you would get some person looking for a headline, like a comicbook.com or something. I think they have a track record of it, of asking weird questions to get it like a headline or like a tweet with a link and stuff like that. But yeah, someone like that asking something to either trigger Ezra or just make things weird and probably ruin the event, you don't want that happening. And to clarify, that's not downplaying any of the allegations that have been put out there and put forward. You just know someone like that would ruin any potential or getting decent insight from Ezra into the movie, like just thrown out the door by doing or saying something silly. Now, the bigger, interesting here is that I guess the entire red carpet or premiere won't have a pressing, because they say they said all the stars will hit the red carpet, but it'll be missing the standard press gauntlet. So I'd assume that they mean like all the interviews and press will be done prior to the premiere, and then it'll just be them walking the red carpet, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if that means that like no one can be there and talk. Like if James Gunn, who you would assume goes to the premiere, does he not talk to the press, or does he is like no press allowed except for photographers? That's very interesting, and that's something we might have to wait till June 12th to 100% know, because that's a bit weird for a premiere for them not to do something like that. But in regards to the Ezra Miller situation, I don't think anyone's surprised that, that's happening. But we were talking in videos, over the past month, really, in the lead up, when the promotional stuff started for the movie. I was like, it wouldn't surprise me if Ezra showed up to the premiere. Didn't realize it would be this big strategic plan, but I'm not shocked Ezra's going. But at the same time, it's still the whole plan around it seems very orchestrated. Like they don't want any drama, if that makes sense. But this is a big question that many are posing, quite a lot actually, many are posing, and that is, will Ezra Miller's lack of participation in this whole press thing hurt the Flash's box office potential? And the answer appears to be probably no, but also unknown at the same time, because you just don't know how well the movie's going to go in the long run. So The Flash, is tracking for an estimated only $75 million opening, which is weird because only a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, there were people they were tracking for 110. So I don't know what happened there. Obviously, it comes off pre-sales and stuff like that, but you just don't know, especially with so many movies coming out in such a short period of time. You just don't know if that's going to be exact. I think every movie they've predicted has actually overshot it except for one in this blockbuster window. I think The Little Mermaid overshot it. I think Spider-Verse overshot it. So maybe they're just having lower estimations and not setting them too high, which I guess is fair enough. But that $75 million is higher than Aquaman, which went on to earn $1 billion worldwide. But that did come along with the fact that there was nothing really following it for 2 months afterwards, and it had a lot of momentum because people were talking about it. But yeah, and despite not using the Flash themselves to promote the film at events and stuff like that, the Flash being Ezra Miller, Warner Brothers has been, I'd say, pretty aggressive with its other advertising, putting the film's trailer into I a constant cycle during the NBA playoffs and it being like the main thing. It's like the NBA playoffs hosted by the new movie, The Flash. You'd hear that constantly. I saw that too many times when I was watching the playoffs. And I think it also played during the NHL playoffs as well, but don't watch NHL, so didn't see them. Now, one other strange thing that did catch people off guard, I guess, was the fact that The Flash will only have one premiere, which is a big change for Warner Brothers, especially with their big movies. They tend to have their Hollywood premiere, which is which is pretty standard, but also another larger one as well, usually in London, as they film a decent amount of films there, or in other locations. I think Aquaman had their large premiere, or their other large premiere in Singapore, I think it was, alongside a Hollywood premiere as well. So this single premiere has had people like double checking, going like, oh, what the hell? But according to a knowledgeable source connected to Variety, they explained that the move had little to do with Ezra Miller and was made to keep the secret ending under wraps. Now, the version that screened at CinemaCon in April ended abruptly, with a chunk of the final scene missing. I can confirm that's the one I saw as well, and it just ends really quickly in a comedic way, but it also doesn't feel natural. And then there's like no credits. But at recent screenings on the Burbank lot this week, the final scene was intact, but Warner's blurred out key elements. In fact, the final scene was changed multiple times pre-CinemaCon, the source adds. At the height of Ezra Miller's PR problems, Warner Brothers was looking to keep its options open with regards to the future trajectory of the Speedster. So this is a very interesting thing because it makes you think, does this end credit scene suggest what they're doing? Does this suggest what they're doing going forward with the character? So a lot of people just thought they were going to have some fun thing that maybe closes off the character and everything like that. And to be honest, the ending that you sort of get at this, this early cut that was shown at CinemaCon that I saw, and then I think has been shown at the fan screenings as well, it sort of feels like it leads into that, but it doesn't confirm at the same time. So I'm wondering if Warner's is so secretive about this ending, and it was changing multiple times pre-CinemaCon. Apparently Ezra Miller's PR problems played into it. Does that make you think, wait, well, hold on. Does that mean it's meant to lead into suggest what they're doing with the character? So I wonder if this, I don't know, talk about an end credit scene or an end of the movie. Everyone's been wondering, what are they going to do with Ezra? Are they going to continue with Ezra? Their thing could be, hey, go watch the movie and you'll find out. That'd be one hell of an advertising campaign for the movie. It's like, hey, you want to know what's happening with Ezra Miller's The Flash? Is Ezra going to continue? Well, go watch the movie. You'll see it at the end. I'll tell you what, I think that might get a lot of people to go watch it, to be completely honest, and be very curious. Now, the thing is that we know the movie's coming out on June 15th, June 14th, June 16th, depending on where you are in the world. But there are some, obviously the Hollywood premiere is on June 12th, so people might spoil it from there. I know that the Australian premiere, which I think I'm going to, is on the 13th. So though, the 15th, 16th seems to be the area where a lot of people will find out, it will be spoiled. It will be spoiled on either the 12th or the 13th. So if you really want to stay, non-spoiled, maybe lay off Twitter for a day or two until you see the movie, because you just know it's going to be spoiled. People can't help themselves. So yeah, but that's a wait and see. But that gets me very curious now, that end thing about it was changing because of what was happening with Ezra. So I'm like, does it confirm what's happening? We'll wait and see. But one of the bigger things that got people talking from this report from Variety was sort of already reported on towards, I think it was November, December last year, something like that, but was added on to slightly here with a bit more information. And apparently it is still in the works, and that is a sequel to the Flash film. This Flash film that's coming out in a week and a half, and apparently this script for the sequel has already been written, and it's just sitting there. Now, this sequel script is coming from David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. What a name. He wrote Aquaman. I think he might have helped with Justice League. I know he did Aquaman, but I think he might have helped with Justice League. Can't remember. But it will be from that script, will be based off that script if a sequel or part 2 happen. Now, that script is said to have guest starred Michael Keaton's Batman and Sasha Calle's Supergirl. Now, the big thing with this is that they said that they're not doing anything with Michael Keaton going forward, but we'll come back to what this might mean or potentially mean depending on what they want to do. But Andy Muschietti wouldn't consider recasting Ezra as Barry Allen or The Flash. We went over this recently when he said that if a sequel happens, yes, I don't think there's anyone that can play that character as well as they did. The other depictions of the character are great, but this particular vision of the character, they just excelled in doing it. It feels like a character that was made for them. So the way that Andy Muschietti has talked about this situation definitely seems that the end of the movie has Ezra in this certain situation. But here's the thing. It is hard to see a sequel with Ezra happening considering everything that's going on. And regardless where you lie and what you think in regards to these allegations, whether they're all true or they're all fake, whatever it is, the public perception doesn't seem to be shifting that much. Like, just look at the comments on social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, it's all the same. It's the same type of thing you would expect, sort of, saying certain things about Ezra. But then again, at the end of the day, money talks. So if this movie makes a lot of money and people love it, it wouldn't be a shock if a sequel does go down. But that's the big question. Well, would James Gunn want this movie in his DCU? Like, is this a part of the plans? Well, we know that James Gunn is heavily, hyping this movie up and championing it, multiple times, like way before anyone saw it. I think even before a trailer came out, he's been hyping it up quite a lot. So he definitely likes it. And one thing that I think not a ridiculous amount of people are considering is that this could easily just be an Elseworld franchise, like at least a sequel to it, if they really want to explore it more and they think people want to see more of Michael Keaton's Batman again. And depending if they don't use Sasha Calle as Supergirl for that Supergirl movie, we can see more of her here. That's definitely a possibility. That's definitely a possibility where we could get we've got Joker 2. That's a sequel in the Elseworlds thing. So we could get a Flash, whatever, Flash 2, Flash TOO, 2, something like that. And it's just in this Elseworlds thing. And maybe that just gives breathing time in regards to using the Flash character, because James Gunn might not exactly know how he wants to use the Flash in his DCU. He might not want to introduce Barry Allen until, 4 or 5, 6 years from now. But the Flash sequel can come out in 3 years or something like that and fill that void for a bit. Now, of course, we're not going to hear anything about what's happening with either Ezra as the Flash or a Flash sequel or anything like that, or, anything along those lines with people in this movie until probably like 3 weeks to maybe like 6 weeks after the movie comes out. They're going to let the movie make its money before they make any decisions about people's futures and whether they do or do not continue in this franchise or certain roles. So it's a wait and see. But I mean, a sequel, I would love to actually have like a fully like Flash centric sequel, but the sequel here just sounds like it'd be like almost like a mini Justice League sort of thing. Like, I think a lot of people want to see like Reverse Flash and stuff like that, and him having a main role and a proper rivalry there, which, I mean, I think a lot of people would want, but based off what's suggested there. But then it says guest starred, which means they probably just have like minor roles in that script, while it's like a main Barry Allen story, which could be Reverse Flash. It doesn't say like this new sequel script co-stars Michael Keaton's Batman and co-stars Sasha Calle's new Supergirl, just guest starred. So it could just be a completely Flash-centered thing with little cameos here and there from those characters. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if the details from that ever come out if we don't get this film. But in regards to any sort of confirmation around whether or not it's happening or whether or not certain people are staying in roles, we're probably waiting until maybe Comic-Con, honestly, probably around that time, for any potential news on what's happening there. So it's a wait and see. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions and everything we went over in this video. Are you looking forward to the Flash film, Flash sequel? What are your thoughts? Would you be hyped for it? Or would you be like, hey, I need to wait and see until I see the movie, until I make those decisions? And in regards to the ending, does that sort of thing about them mentioning Ezra Miller's PR problems and it's like the end scene constantly changing make you go, ooh, were they waiting to see what they were actually going to do going forward before they cemented that final thing in there? So let me know thoughts on that in the comment section down below as well. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.